Hey guys, today I went out and did something a little bit out of the ordinary. I went onto eBay and purchased at auction a 2010 5.1 Mac Pro. Why did I go out and purchase such an old computer? Stay tuned to find out. The Mac Pro, which was introduced in 2006, has been a revolutionary product for the Apple lineup. It still exists today in its third generation. Some of you guys might be wondering, why did I go out and buy such an old computer? Well, the first reason is I was actually looking for a storage device. Now, some people might say, well, Andrew, you could have gone out and bought an external hard drive. Well, yeah, I have some of those already, but they're only gonna last for so long and they're already about half full. Why should I go out and keep investing in just external drives when I can get something to house internal drives? The next question that people might be asking me is, well, then why didn't you go out and just buy a NAS, which is a network access storage device, which can house multiple hard drives? I went out and started looking at these on the internet a little bit, and to get something that stores 4, 5, 6 hard drives in it, you're talking anywhere in the price range of $350 to $500, $600, $700 plus. Then you run into, well, a lot of the $300 to $500 models of NASs don't even come with hard drives on board. So I got to thinking, well, what else could I do for a file server? Then it dawned on me. I started watching some videos on YouTube, believe it or not, a few weeks ago of the 5.1 and 4.1 Mac Pros, which came out in 2009, 2010. The great thing about these machines are they can still run the most current operating system, which is Mac OS X Catalina. Now, what's so great about buying a 10-year-old computer to be a media server, you might ask? Well, one is it's an Apple product. It's tried and true. It's something that's going to last a long time. It already has, of course. It's lasted like 8 to 10 years at this point in time since it was manufactured. However, if you want to get something that is a low price and you can upgrade it, then that's what I started looking into a little bit. Apple has been producing these for a long time now, and they make really good just everyday computers and powerhouse computers still. I've watched multiple videos out there on the internet showing you how to easily upgrade these computers and how you can actually make them more powerful than, current day Mac computers, yet you're only paying a fraction of the price. Now, my main intention of this computer is to house media on it and maybe do some occasional light video editing on it as well as a secondary source. My primary source for editing video still is going to be my 2017 iMac. However, I want to be able to have the flexibility to move between two computers as well. So that's another reason why I decided I wanted to buy a media server, so to say. So over the next few weeks, I'll be showing you guys when it arrives. I'll be doing an unboxing video on that, hooking it up, and then showing you guys how you upgrade this computer. So let's dive into some of the details. How much did I pay for it? What are the specs on it? And how does it stack up against other listings out there on eBay? Let me tell you right off the bat, I got a really good deal on it and I'm super excited to show you. So I chose to get the 2010 5.1 Mac for a few reasons. First off, it offers me the most expandability for the price point. Believe it or not, I only spent $335 with free shipping on this. Now, you might be saying, yeah, it's a 10-year-old device. However, it has the magical thing of upgradeability in it. The Mac Pros from 2010 all the way up till 2012, that is, have the ability to put 6 hard drive or SSDs in them. Now, it gets better from there because there are PCIe slots on board as well. So you can actually add what are called NVMe drives to the logic board. Now, what does that mean? So an NVMe drive basically looks like a stick of RAM, only it's flash storage. So technically, I've actually seen out there on the internet 8 to 10 different solid state or hard drives being able to be put into these devices. Now, hard drives nowadays, you can get 4, even 6 terabyte models. So getting a storage device that was budget friendly, that offers high upgradability factors, and also is able to be used as a secondary machine it's a win-win, and that's exactly why I decided to go with the 5.1 Mac Pro from 2010. With that being said, let's take a look at the actual auction. How much I paid for this, again, was $335 with free shipping. And it comes from the seller with a 60-day warranty, meaning I can return it if something is wrong or if I have any issues with the machine itself. So let's dive in and take a look. So on the screen here, you'll notice again that I paid $335 for the machine. It's in used condition, of course, yeah, it's in used condition, but it's in good used condition, meaning that it only might contain minor case scratches. $335 for this machine. Next, let's take a look at the title and look at the specs a little bit more, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into what this means. So it's a Apple Mac Pro desktop MC250LLA from 2010. This is the 5.1 Mac version model, and it comes with a Xeon quad-core 2.8 gigahertz processor. Now, this was the base processor for this model when it came out in 2010, and it retailed for $24.99. Considering 10 years later, it's going for about 10 to 15% of what the original cost was. I find pretty good, especially for a Mac computer, and I'll show you some comparisons in just a minute here. Now, this is the real golden piece here, 32 gigs of RAM. So what does that entail exactly, and how does that compare to what I have on my iMac currently? So my iMac actually only has 24 gigs of RAM installed in it currently. Eventually I'm gonna upgrade that to 48 gigs, but I haven't gotten there yet. But this computer from 2010 has more RAM than my iMac from 2017. So comparing them side by side, RAM-wise, this definitely wins hands down. Now moving on to the storage capacity in this. Now this only comes with 1 terabyte of storage on the original hard drive. I'm assuming that is going to be in slot 1 of 4 inside of the computer itself. And again, in a few minutes, I'm gonna show you in detail why I think I got such a good deal on this computer. The next thing I wanna point out on this listing is that it has a 60-day warranty on it, not like a 30 or 14 day that a lot of eBay sellers out there actually have. So I think that I got a really good deal on it because of that warranty period, meaning that if for some reason something were to go wrong in the first 60 days, I could return it, wouldn't have to spend any money to return the item, and would get my money back. However, I don't think I'm gonna run into too many issues. Again, knock on wood, I don't, but I'm excited the fact that it does have the 60-day guarantee. In case there is something wrong with the device, I can send it back to the seller. That's a nice thing about at least the seller on eBay. One thing, again, this might sound like common sense, but always make sure you look at sellers on eBay. I know that it's a pretty like duh moment, right? Like most people are pretty logical and will, again, not buy from somebody that has a really bad reputation or bad seller for that matter. So again, make sure you look at the seller. This person sold 43,000 items and they have a 99.2 positive feedback ratio. So that's a pretty dang good positive feedback ratio for the amount of items that they have sold on their storefront. I do want to mention on this model, it only has 1 CPU mount. Now, some of the higher end Mac Pros from the 4.1, 5.1 generations have 2 CPU mounts and 2 heat sinks on the logic board. So again, make sure you look at that before you buy a Mac Pro. Since I'm not going to be doing a ton of video editing or using this as my primary machine, getting 1 processor for me was fine because again, I'm not going to be using it for a lot of powerhouse stuff. And again, you can upgrade the single CPU to an actual 6-core or even higher CPU. I'll link down in the description of a great website that has a list of all the compatible CPUs that you can upgrade your Mac Pro on. Again, that'll be down in the description later. Moving down the page here, again, it has the 1 terabyte hard drive and it currently has Mac OS X 10.10 Yosemite on it. Now, Yosemite came out a long time ago. It's a pretty old operating system now by that means. And one thing I'm gonna do once I get this computer is I'm gonna do a video on how to upgrade the operating system. An important note though about this, if you are planning to upgrade your 4.1 or 5.1 Mac Pro to the latest version of Mac OS X, which is Catalina, you'll need to upgrade the graphics card in it because the graphics card needs to be a metal supported graphics card. Just a side note there, in case you're planning on doing this and using this, say, for a video powerhouse computer, you will need to upgrade the graphics card. Of course, why would you go with a 10-year-old graphics card if your primary focus is video editing or gaming, right? And scrolling down the page here, there's a few more details on the specific auction. Again, it says that it's used, it's not in the original box, it does not include a power cord, mouse, or anything else. Now, the nice thing about the Mac Pros is that, especially this model, it uses a standard power plug-in for the power supply on the computer. So you can take like a PC power supply, plug it into the Mac Pro, and it'll power on just fine. So I already have a bunch of those. So in this instance, I didn't need to buy that. So I want to show you now why I think I got such a good deal on this computer. Looking at the eBay listings, what I did is I typed in the model number, the MC250LL-A, which is the 2010 Mac Pro with the 2.8 gigahertz quad-core processor in it. Now, it returned 14 results that have sold within the past 30 days on eBay. Looking at it, I got one of the best deals out there, and let's take a look at as to why I got such a good deal on it. So taking a look at the first listing here, this is the one that I actually bought. This is the one that I got for $334.99 with a 60-day warranty. And again, keep in the back of your mind for the rest of this video, it has 32 gigs of RAM installed on it already. Going down the page, the second one, which sold on May 31st, is a 2.8 gigahertz with only 3 gigabytes of RAM and a 480 gigabyte hard drive. Has a 60-day warranty on it, but this person paid $366 for it. So to compare that with the listing that I got, it has way less RAM in it and a much smaller hard drive on it, and yet the person still paid over $30 more for the same exact computer. The next listing down the page here, $346, again, only has 12 gigs of RAM in it. Mine, 32 gigabytes of RAM in it. So I still think I got a better deal there. So if we scroll down the page a little bit more here, you'll notice the next listing on the page sold for $399 plus $110 with shipping and handling. So yeah, this person paid over $500 for the same computer, and yet it has half the amount of RAM in it. Blows my mind away that it's amazing in my mind on eBay, especially, people don't do their research, I find. Like, they just are like, oh, it's $500, buy. Like, they don't look around. I've looked around for only a couple of days, keeping an eye on some of the auctions, and was able to get mine for $335 versus this person who paid $510, including the shipping on that price, and yet they still got a worse computer than I got. Doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm happy I got it for what I got it for. The next listing on here sold for $489 with free shipping. Again, this one is not as good as the one I got because it only has 8 gigs of RAM in it. It has the ATI 5770, which in term is the standard graphics card on this from 2010. It is not an upgraded graphics card by any means. Scrolling down the page a little bit more, this one sold for $388. Again, more money than I paid for mine. It only had 8 gigs of RAM and only a 500 gigabyte hard drive on it. No 60-day warranty on these last 3 postings, I should mention as well. This next listing sold for $439 with almost $50 shipping. So this person paid close to $500 again. This one does have a 1 terabit RAID drive and a 1 terabit hard drive. So it does have 2 terabytes of storage on it. However, 2 terabytes of storage isn't worth paying an extra like almost $200 for another terabyte of storage. You can go out and buy a terabyte drive, stick it in this machine for like 50 bucks. So that's still in my mind kind of a ripoff if you ask me. Looking at a few other listings on here, you'll notice again, this trend continues, $380. Yes, has 10 gigabytes of RAM, doing a little bit better there. 1 terabit hard drive and the standard 5770 Radeon graphics card. So again, more than I paid. Is it a bad deal? Sort of. Again, you're only getting 10 gigabytes of RAM for that. And it's kind of like, you know, if you keep your eye out on eBay for a couple of days, even like I did, you're able to save a lot of money instead of paying an exuberant price tag for something that is 10 years old, right? The only listing I was actually able to find that sold for a little bit less than what I bought mine for was this one here, which sold for $225 plus $40 shipping and handling. However, this does not come with a 60-day money-back guarantee on it, and also still had less RAM than the one I was able to pick up. So what's the walk away from all of this and price shopping on eBay? Look at the prices, bookmark them, add them to your watch list, and watch and see how they move. What I did on the auction for mine is I kept an eye on it for about 24 hours. It only had the one bid on it after the 24 hours. And then I sat at my computer when it came down to the wire early in the morning and was able to win it that way. So let's talk a little bit more about the upgradability factor on this machine and where I kind of see it going. So first off, starting out with hard drives. Hard drives on this machine is impeccable. You can actually put up to 6 hard drives, as I mentioned before, plus NVMEs into it. So it's super nice because you're able to have a lot of mass storage in one box. The next great thing about the 5 and 4.1 Mac Pro series, as I mentioned earlier on in this video, is you can upgrade it to the latest version of the operating system, Mac OS X Catalina. Catalina is 10.15, and you can do this by upgrading your graphics card in the computer, which you can spend $100 to another $150, upgrade the operating system. You have just like a brand new Mac, basically. You are suffering a little bit on the performance on the processor. However, these processors, I'll put a link in the description below, are upgradable as well. And that's a really nice thing too, because you can actually upgrade this processor from the quad core to actually a 6-core processor. And if you buy the version of the logic board with 2 processor mounts on it, you can actually have 2 6-core processors, so you can basically have a 12-core processor on board on this Mac Pro. So they're super upgradable in all 3 areas there. Another area they're upgradable on is RAM. So this one has 32 gigabytes of RAM on it, but a lot of the listings that I just showed you only had 8, 12, 10, 16 maybe gigabytes of memory. So that's another cheap option to upgrade it and be able to use it on a day-to-day basis for video editing or gaming or other types of graphic intensive applications. The last thing I want to mention on the upgradability factor on these machines is the fact that you have power plugins right on the logic board that are free and available. So what does this mean? You can actually put in additional graphics cards, like I mentioned before, that are high-end graphics cards for that matter. You can spend $450, $500 on a super nice graphics card that is a current graphics card and meet or almost exceed some of the current Mac products out on the market. So that's kind of crazy just to think about a 10-year-old computer that can have just as much graphics processing power as a brand new Mac. So interesting concept there. Definitely something that I might explore in the future. Other things you can use with these power plugins on the logic board include some I/O peripherals such as like USB 3 hubs. This does not have USB 3 in it by default. You can get a USB 3 card hub on it and you're able to plug in a lot of different USB 3 devices. Same thing with like Thunderbolt devices, right? Thunderbolt 3, you're able to plug in and interface a lot with different I/O devices using and being able to utilize high power options because there's those plugins on the logic board. So now I've talked a little bit about the upgrades you can perform on the 4.1 and 5.1 Mac Pro lineup. I want to talk a little bit about what I'm planning on doing in the future with the computer. Initially at first, I'm going to keep the original operating system on it, so 10.10. I will be upgrading that in the future to the latest version once I get a new graphics card for the computer. So that is probably going to be my first pick of upgrading on the computer itself, is getting another graphics card and then eventually also adding more storage along the way. The next thing I'm going to be doing with the Mac Pro is upgrading the CPU on it eventually, so I can run some Cinebench tests and also kind of experiment a little bit about how it compares in speed and efficiency compared to my 2017 iMac. Make sure you stay tuned for additional videos here on the channel of me upgrading the Mac Pro, and follow my journey as I explore how I can upgrade the Mac Pro to utilize its max efficiency and make it into a powerhouse computer. And as always guys, make sure you comment down below, let me know what things you'd like to see me upgrade first. The list I just kind of rambled off is what I'm wanting to upgrade initially, but if you have a better suggestion on things you think I might be able to upgrade, make sure you leave your comments down below on that. And as always, make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications at the top, and we'll see you next time in another LoveTech video.